welcome to another video from the TraderGuide.com. This is the weekly trade idea for the week coming up for July 1st. And it's going to be a little bit different just simply because I think there's a little bit of a lesson in this chart that goes beyond the normal, hey, I think the euro is going to bounce because of this, or I think the Canadian dollar is going to go sideways because of this. Because one of the mistakes that we tend to make as traders, and I am just as guilty of this most of the time, is that we tend to look at the charts and put too much thought into them sometimes. For example, let's take a look at this chart. You can see that we've had a nice run higher and we've fallen quite a bit, quite drastically, really. But at the same time, you can see that we are definitely in a support area. Now, let me go ahead and zoom in a little bit, and you can see that at the support area we have formed a perfect hammer. Now, what would you typically do for that chart? Would you think that possibly if you're already short of this particular market, would you maybe tighten your stops? I think it would certainly be reasonable to do so because most of us recognize the fact that this hammer is forming at such nice support is indeed a pretty positive sign. Whether or not we can change the trend might be a completely different story. But having said that, there's definitely something positive coming. It certainly looks that way at least. So now that I shrink the chart, you can see what this is. This is a weekly silver chart. Now that I've told you that it's silver, does it change your opinion? Very well could. Silver markets have been absolutely decimated this year. Off the top of my head, I believe we are down about 35%, maybe 37%. And because of that, a lot of people are going to be very nervous about owning silver. Now, full disclosure for myself, I do own silver, but I own it in the physical form. I've been buying as it dips, a couple ounces here, a couple ounces there. I'm doing what is known as dollar cost averaging because I believe in the long term validity of silver markets going higher. So let's take a look at this candle. What does this candle tell us? It tells us that we tried to break down below an area that is massive support. You have to think that this area right here, right around 1850 or so, $18 really, is very supportive based upon what we saw back in September of '09 all the way to, it looks like probably September of 10 or so. And with this area being a year of consolidation and an uptrend, it's hard to imagine that it's just going to give way rapidly. You can also, for the most part, make an argument for some type of descending triangle. Maybe we had kind of a little bit of false breakout there. You can make the argument that we could go down lower, but without a doubt, what this screams to me is that we will more than likely make a significant bounce from here. And it is because of this, when this formed on, or I should say was forming on Friday, I actually went out and bought quite a few more physical rounds. Now, I am willing to go long the futures contract here on a move higher with this type of sell off. Let me go ahead and get rid of all this. But with this type of sell off, from the breakdown, and it really kind of, this is one of those things about fibs that I don't like. You could take it from here, you could also take it from here and say, hey, that's where it really broke down. Well, let's go ahead and take it from the top. And if we get this fall and we get a bounce, and we get a bounce back to the 50% Fibonacci retrace, well, look where that puts us. That puts us back here retesting the bottom of this triangle. Well, that's a pretty significant move. That's about $27 roughly. So, having said that, I definitely think that there's a move coming. I think that you can take advantage of silver rallying. If it breaks down, it breaks down. nothing's 100% or set in stone, but certainly at this point in time, a bounce isn't too much to ask. You can take advantage depending on what time or what part of the year or world, excuse me. It's very late when I'm recording this. What part of the world you're in? CFDs, futures markets, of course, and also binaries might be a good way to go. I know that one of the ways I may play this is actually through the Nadex here in the United States. They do offer binaries. Um, the futures contract is a bit expensive and it's very, very volatile. So you have to have big real money to play that one. But if you have the ability to do CFDs, or even you could even do the mini futures contract, that those aren't so bad. You, you certainly can take advantage of this, and I think we more than likely will have a little pop. Typically, what happens with silver, though, happens with gold. So we could get a little bit of a bounce in the gold market as well. I will say this, though, the gold market doesn't look as interesting. Um, this is just setting up as a perfect technical buy signal. Again, I don't know that we can break back over 27, and I certainly would expect this area to cause a lot of choppiness. So this is not going to be the type of position that somebody with who doesn't have the wherewithal to hang on to a rough ride should be taking. But nonetheless, it does look to me like silver is at least getting ready to bounce.